Let's check in with the Money Desk. Business editor Devin Murugan is standing by with Shell to give us some insights into those decisions that were taken by the court and really what the plan is going forward.
All right, Rolf, good afternoon. So Shell will not be appealing a court decision to halt its seismic activity on the Wild Coast. Environmentalists, fishing communities and residents voiced their disapproval across South Africa at various protest actions against Shell in December. Now, the energy giant was undertaking those surveys in search of oil and gas beneath the seabed. So where to from this point for Shell on the matter? I want to bring in Hloniphizwe Mtolo, the Shell SA country chair, for more on this. Mr. Mtolo, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. So the Amazon Warrior, which was to have continued the seismic survey on the Wild Coast, it's now left. Why has Shell chosen not to appeal the court decision to halt the seismic activity?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us on your show. We have actually not decided not to appeal the process. We are at the moment reviewing all our legal options and taking the one that will give us the best results. So it is sort of early days to say that we are not appealing. So we would really like to appeal, but we would like to go the route that will give us the best way to get a favorable outcome.
But I'm just wondering why the Amazon Warrior ship then, is it still stationed where it was for the past few weeks or months at the Wild Coast, or is it left?
Well, the Amazon has actually left, and there are two reasons for that in terms of the review. The one is an economic reason. It is very costly for us on a daily basis to be keeping the vessel waiting for the court processes. That's the one reason. The second reason is around the window for seismic operations in South Africa, especially in the Wild Coast. So the window is a limited window. We have a possibility to do a seismic survey between the months of December to about April. So with the court processes not having been finalized up to now, it is very difficult to then say we will be doing the survey within this window. So while we await for the court processes, and if we do find favorable sort of outcomes from the hearing, we will be considering going back. But it's a decision that will be made at the appropriate time. And when I say going back, it can only be around December 2022, early 2023, at the next window that is available for us to do the survey.
Understood. Mr. Mtolo, were you surprised by the uproar you received? Because as Shell has mentioned before, seismic blasting had been done before with no real backlash. Were you surprised with the uproar this time around?
We were very surprised because firstly, the uproar was unjustified. There's absolutely no evidence why there was an uproar in the first place. And as you've correctly indicated, we've done seismic investigations of this nature before, as recently as in 2020, for that matter. So there was no indication that we were going to face any form of backlash. And when we did, it really caught us by surprise, and we still don't understand where did it come from and what are the drivers that actually led to this.
But the court disagrees with you, the court decision in December, because the court says Shell's denial that its activities will not be adverse in terms of impact, that argument by you can't be sustained. So in other words, the court says there could be irreparable damage.
Well, the court says there could be. We are saying there isn't, because we are talking from experience. We are talking from the work that we are doing all the time. The court decided that let's rather err on the side of caution. There isn't any evidence that says there has been irreparable damage. So what the court looked at is that there is a possibility. But we are saying that from the experience that we've developed over 50 years, we have not experienced any irreparable damage, especially in South Africa over the last 5 years or so. When these surveys have been conducted, there hasn't been any damage to the environment. And that is why we actually were very, very sore, if I may use the word, with the judgment that came out of this court process.
Okay, so Gwede Mantashe, the energy minister, he thinks otherwise. I mean, he's thrown his support to Shell, saying that you have been compliant. But I want to talk about something that's beginning to surface in the media at the moment. The Financial Mail today reporting on that 15 million rand donation to the ANC from the Batu Trust, which is the 46% shareholder of the Tebe Investment Corporation. That corporation owns 28% of Shell's downstream business in South Africa. Now, Mr. Mtolo, this puts Shell in a bit of a bind, doesn't it?
Well, it does not put Shell in a bit of a bind, as again you've got your facts straight about Tebe's involvement with Shell. Tebe's involvement with Shell is in our downstream business, and the seismic survey is on our upstream side of the business. Those are two separate businesses that are actually operated as such in South Africa and in many parts of the world. That's the first point. The second point is that Batu Trust is not an investor in Shell. Batu Trust is a shareholder at Tebe, and Tebe holds 28% of Shell's shareholding in South Africa. However, Shell is not in a position to dictate what Tebe must do with the proceeds from its investments. So it is a very difficult thing for us to be talking about, because that is actually a question that should be directed at Tebe and the Batu Trust and not at Shell.
Can I just ask you then very quickly, I mean, in another part of the world, this could be seen as some sort of conflict or awkwardness, especially given the way things panned out. Do you not see it that way, Mr. Mtolo?
So Shell is a global organization, and as such, we are guided by our business principles and also international laws in terms of how we operate. If there was anything that we believe is untoward with this, we would investigate it appropriately and get to a landing as far as it is concerned. So at this stage, we have not had any investigation that tells us that we should be concerned. So we are not concerned at this stage because, as I indicate, this is something that should be tested with both Batu as well as Tebe in terms of the nature of the money and what it was, what it was intended for. That is something that should be directed at Tebe at this stage.
All right. Thanks very much indeed for your time. That was Hloniphizwe Mtolo from Shell SA. So that's where we leave it now, Rofhiwa.